Beth,
How are you today?
good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. I'm really excited to chat with you about Final Destination Bloodlines.
Oh, thanks. I'm excited to talk about it.
So first off, were you a fan of the franchise before joining it?
I will say that I definitely remember seeing the first and second movies when they came out. Um, and I can't say that I remember specifically what happened. But I remember the feeling of the dread and the kind of um feel that superstitious feeling of like, oh gosh, I left, my phone hanging halfway off the desk and it's gonna fall over and make me trip and fall into the knife. So yeah, I mean, that's I think what the real stickiness of that whole franchise is about is that feeling that we all have about, "Oh, did I just like trigger something terrible?"
What do you think it is about the franchise that it makes it so popular that keeps us coming back for now six installments?
Oh yeah. Well, I love the Rube Goldbergness of the deaths, right? The trying to figure out how it's going to happen and then how they just do such an amazing job giving you like the red herrings, right? The false, oh, this is going to happen, but then doesn't. They did such a great job with Richard's teaser when he dies in the tattoo parlor, and then maybe he doesn't. So I think it is that kind of it's the puzzle pieces coming together and trying to figure that out. And then, some of them like really become complex and then some of them just smash you in the face. So I think that's it's the fun of that.
I couldn't agree more. Uh,
Yeah.
for me, it's definitely the suspense of like, ooh, the camera is panning on this one object that's gonna be involved, and then
Yeah.
turns it on its head.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the backyard scene is such a perfect example of that. Like you're so focused on the glass shard and what is going to, and the obvious answer is obviously somebody's going to drink and swallow it. I think three or four of us actually take sips and you think we're all gonna, I think Anna and Teo and myself and maybe it was just three, but you're always thinking, oh gosh, who's gonna be like slitting their throat open from the inside? And then turns out it's just a foot.
Um, I am curious. Were any of you supposed to have the glass, or was it just always supposed to be a red herring?
Oh, I had the glass because it's the glass that I set down that gets knocked over when the Jenga falls over. So the
Oh, okay,
Jenga
yeah.
falls over, knocks over the glass spills onto the grass, then Howard steps on it. Alex steps on it.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Uh, it just really goes to show that there's so much going on that if you miss one tiny detail, it's kind of like, you got to go back and watch.
Oh yeah. And the directors are so good at that. My understanding is, and I was not a witness to this, but my understanding is that the way they got the job is they actually staged one of those scenarios, not out of the movie, but their own kind of Rube Goldberg, domino hitting the bowling ball in their pitch meeting.
That's insane.
Yeah. So, and yeah, I think they did such an amazing job, I think. I really do think they elevated everything to another level, across the board, whether it was the horror, the drama, the comedy, I mean, all of it just like seemed to be firing on all cylinders.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. It's like they kept the same essence, but just like made it more and like bigger.
More,
And it's
yes,
great.
bigger and better, new
Yeah.
and improved.
So what was it about the pitch or the script or however you were introduced to Bloodlines that really excited you about joining?
Oh gosh, I actually came on late to the project because it was greenlit was it prior to the to COVID or prior to the strikes? They started production and then stopped production and had to come back and scrap everything they had done before. So I came on so late. I believe I got the role perhaps just 2 or 3 weeks prior to heading up to Vancouver to start pre-production. So honestly, I have to say, like, I was just thrown into the fire, which for me is like, I mean, that's just what I'm just my career has been always that. Like, I'm just arriving and thrown into it, and let's see what happens, which is what keeps it interesting for me. I like that.
That is awesome. I like that. It's like, hey, you gotta be here on Monday. It's like, cool.
Yeah, that's what it is. And you're working with Denzel or you're working with whomever. And yeah, I like that. It keeps it exciting and keeps me on my toes, which is yeah, fun for me.
Um, what was it like seeing the deaths translated from the script to the screen?
Oh gosh, that was so fun. In particular, for me, watching Howard and the lawnmower, like, and watching those practical effects because they did so much of it practically, right? It's not they're th- I would imagine that almost every one of those deaths was a practical effect. Um, so yeah, watching Howard tangle with the lawnmower, watching Anna. So I actually didn't see this on the day, but there's some behind the scenes footage floating around of the rig that the in the trash truck when Anna's head gets smashed, and they have this rig where it's remember those toys with the needles in it, and then you put it against your face, and your face like comes
Oh,
out in 3D on the other side? It's it's basically that, but the whole thing comes and then smashes against your face. It looks so amazing. And I think that was kind of the most surprising thing is how many kind of, engineering things they did to make things work. That was pretty impressive.
that's so cool. I do like seeing the behind the scenes stuff. Um, A, because it's really cool, but also because these movies kind of give you a bit of like a paranoia after. So like
Oh.
seeing the behind the scenes, it's like, okay, that's how they did it. You know, this isn't gonna happen to me. Like, or at least the odds of it happening are not very high.
Yeah.
So so like what is your relationship with the concept of death now that you've been in this really big, fantastic film, but you've also gotten to see the behind the scenes of it?
Um, yeah, I would say that like when you're on set, I mean, I'm constantly behind the scenes. So it's all the suspense of it is not happening on set, right? So much of that is created in the editing and the post, right? We're just performing scenes in, kind of an emotional reality as opposed to a suspenseful reality. Um, so I would say that production didn't change my perspective at all. It was just work. But then when I saw the movie, that that was traumatic.
I believe that. I
Yeah.
um There's a lot of discourse about how impactful these films have been, mostly in terms of like what to avoid when living your life. So like the do not drive behind a log truck kind of thing.
Yeah.
So are there any sequences or deaths that have stuck with you in that kind of particular way?
Oh, for sure. Well, so for sure, the glass shard. That's always one that, glasses break all the time. And especially I have three kids, so things break all the time, but glasses definitely break all the time. And I would say before this, like my wife would be like, "Oh, we have to get every piece, every piece, every piece," and she would be sweeping, vacuuming, double sweep, mop, sweep again, vacuum again, mop again. And I'd be like, "Honey, I mean, at this point, it's just going to be a little tiny sliver, and it's going to hurt, but it's not going to kill anybody." Well, well, you say that now. So, yeah, I think glass and ice is probably the scariest one. Yeah. I mean, of course, the log, and this speaks to the franchise, like the log scene from 20 plus years ago, 22, 23 years ago. Um, I never drive behind anything
Nope.
that looks like it could come loose. If it's a ladder, if it's a mattress, if it's a chair, I mean, it doesn't have to be logs. I'm not going anywhere near being behind something like that. So
No,
yeah.
I'm the same way. And it's always funny because like I'll be driving and I'll be like, though there will be somebody driving behind a log truck or something like that, and it's like,
Mhm.
they haven't seen it.
Yeah. Silly. Silly, 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 silly.
Um, and because this franchise has such almost a cult following, I don't know if I would say a cult following, but it feels right. There are obviously people who haven't seen it and don't want to see the franchise.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to those people to try to get them on board?
So for me, I actually have a lot of friends like that, right? And so who kind of hesitate to see quote unquote horror movies. Um, and what I say to them is that in particular this one, but I think the entire franchise is that it is horror of the roller coaster type. Meaning, when you go to Disneyland and you get on rock and roller coaster, right? You know that the thing isn't going to fly off the tracks. But it's like so fun to feel like you're going to fly off the tracks, right? And I think that's what this franchise does so well is it's like horrific and scary and it does stick with you, but it's so much fun, And I think some horror goes way beyond fun and just becomes absolutely terrifying for me. And so I understand that's a whole nother level of like skeevy, freaked out, like can't sleep at night, as opposed to this, which is like it sticks with you, but in a fun kind of tongue-in-cheek way, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
No, it definitely does.
Yeah.
It
So
does.
yeah, I think that's the thing for me is that it's straight up horror fun, like to the 10th degree.
I like that horror fun.
Yeah.
Like that needs to be an official genre.
Yeah. I really do feel like when, the first screening I saw of it, I definitely had the feeling of like, oh my gosh, this crosses so many genres. Like, it's not just straight horror, it's not Saw. It's like somewhere between, horror and comedy and musical practically and drama family drama. There's so many pieces in it that are, again, firing on all cylinders. I'm really proud to be just part of the project.
That's amazing. Um, this has been such a fun conversation. But I'm all out of questions. So,
Oh, okay.
before I let you go, is there anything else you want to add about Final Destination Bloodlines?
Um, I would just say that the just a shout out to the cast. The cast is so great in everything they do on it. And I will just tell you, I just personally, they're really lovely people. Like just I couldn't be more fortunate to have gotten to work with them and meet them all. We're all still friends. We all still like every once in a while the text thread will blow up, which is always fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Um, Thank you for chatting. I loved the film. I will be watching it again. Now that I know that I missed the sequence with you having the glass. But I can't wait to see what you're in next.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time.